Heidi ho, and here we go, neighbors. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571 where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. I took about a month off, with November, not having a job for half a month and trying to catch up. It's all good though, because now I'm back to do my thing and make it swing. So today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about family traditions, melding some of the old and some of the new. Now, we all know, depending on how you grew up and where you grew up, you have different types of people in the Midwest. Friday, so they would have fish and spaghetti on Fridays. So that was their thing. And you know, somebody from the Midwest put me on to that, and it's okay, but not something I'm gonna do every day. Um, you know, yeah, we as Black folks, we have our own traditions. We do. Back in the day, we used to all eat pig intestines. That was just part of every holiday meal. You had to have some chitlins, had to have some hog maw, some ham hocks, all that good stuff. And you weren't considered black, you didn't eat that stuff. But then the 60s and 60s came and the Nation of Islam was talking about you eating pig, you eating that rotten stuff. So a lot of people got turned off by that. And the amount of work people put in to make chitlins, it became a labor intensive thing. So in today's society, we decide not to have that anymore. But today, what are we cooking today for our meals? Are we just doing we order it out. Some people fry their turkey, some people grill their turkey for Thanksgiving. Some people even have turkey for Christmas too. Personally, I do it all, but one thing I used to do back before I got married, back in the early 90s, I would make lasagna for Thanksgiving because I wanted something different. And I like lasagna. I'm like, just call me another Garfield. But now with my high cholesterol and all that other good stuff, I'm not gonna, I can't even eat that much anymore. But what? If you're online, I'm only on YouTube Live right now. Um, if you're on YouTube Live, if you're on my live, you can come on my Zoom, chat it up, chop it up. I'm gonna get into the subject in about 10 minutes. Today, none of my co-hosts are here yet. My favorite girl, the chocolate pearl, the lady that's sweet as Snapple, Miss Apple, and of course the one that's lean, never mean, the Lady Bean. We got together virtually over the holiday, and it was almost as good as if we were all in the same place because we enjoy each other's company most of the time when we're not clowning each other. But that's how families are. It's a time, you're not gonna always get along, but you always want to make sure that things that you do fit within the family framework, and you want to make sure that your stuff is tight. One of the things I know in most black families, you can't just eat anybody's house. You got a relative or two who you like, nah, I'm good. And if you don't have a relative like that, chances are you are that relative. If nobody comes over to your house because it ain't clean, and you let your pet sit on the table and stuff like that. Talked about that a couple of months ago with how certain ethnicities like they pet, like they pet so much they kiss them in the mouth and stuff like that. Yeah, nah, we ain't doing that. We are not doing that. But, you know, when you were younger, did y'all have a kids table and an adults table that everybody sat at the same table? I know when I was young, over my paternal grandmother's house, there was an adult table and there was a kids table. Well, actually, all the kids had to sit at the table, and the adults had food trays, and they sat in the living room. My grandmother, neither one of my grandmother's houses were big, but they used to get a lot of people in there. And my maternal grandmother was the same way, where we had, she had a kids table and she had a adults table, and we used to enjoy each other. And the kids were like the kids, and the adults, everybody stayed in each other's business. Today, them young kids be in your all in your mouth like they're adults. But sometimes I think because we let them be that way, and a lot of us trying to be our kids' friends. Now, you can always have be cordial with your kids, be friendly, but your kids shouldn't be your friends. 'Cause but I can't. What you eat don't make me go to the bathroom and vice versa. So if that's what you do, that's what you do. I'm just saying my personal opinion. And that is not a reflection of all of the show. It's just my personal opinion. And I try not to discriminate against anybody except for stupid people. I don't like stupid people. And but I know one person that likes unsmart people, and that is the guy in the White House. He even said it. I like the poorly educated because they're easier to fool. But you can't tell them that. If you ever heard of the Dunning Kruger theory, can't tell them that because they ain't the brightest, they ain't the sharpest stick in the shed. But we gotta the holidays are here. This is a good time to be thankful between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now you can play your Christmas songs because it's December the 1st. But if you played it before that, I put on you. I put that root on you because you shouldn't be doing that. Give Thanksgiving this time to thanks and give. Give those people time to enjoy their Thanksgiving. Give the turkey the time to turkey, and let the rest of the stuff go along. Oh gosh. But I'll be ready with the subject in about get situated. No Black Friday shopping this year. We trying to hurt pockets. We trying to hurt pockets. We ain't gonna act right until they act right. So pledge to your neighbor. Say, neighbor, don't spend no ends. Tell you look to your neighbor to the left and to your right. Say no spend until the end. They shouldn't get none of your money because they not only don't pay you enough, they also don't give you enough. They also don't have deals. They don't even do deals anymore. They got you so used to they got you so used to getting your stuff and making things happen. Like they sell you the same overpriced junk, drop it $5 and you thinking you got a deal. You ain't got no deal, you got. Well, I am back in my studio. Just give me a second and I will switch over. Hopefully it'll switch. I am back where I need to be. Now, today, today I want to talk about bridging past and future, honoring. Give me a second. Honoring heritage in new ways. What happens when the heart of the black family tradition meets the imagination of the present? As we explore the vibrant crossroads of resilience, joy, and communal wisdom, where yesterday's cherished rituals inspire tomorrow's innovative celebrations. From heritage fusion, meals, and digital griot archives to intergenerational story circles and reimagined family reunions, we're going to dive deep into how music, food, faith, games, and legacy are being transformed for a new era. Discover creative blueprints for honoring heritage and building bridges across communities. It's perfect for anyone seeking to spark meaningful connection, justice, and joy in their celebrations. Get inspired to make your launching pad some something boldly new, and make sure that you do what you got to do. So I know you busy working, Miss Andrine, but I want to ask you, what are your family traditions? What are your family traditions concerning Christmas and or Thanksgiving? What are your traditions that your parents did that you don't do now, that you don't do, and what do you carry on?
Um, I think our tradition is basically, I don't think there's any traditions that we don't do. Our traditions is basically just like spending time with family, of course, cooking. That's what I probably would like to not do as much of, but they still love cooking. And just like fellowship games, hanging out. That's mostly, and I kind of feel like I carry on those traditions. I don't think there's anything that I don't do, maybe as much of the cooking part per se, but everything else I pretty much just carry on.
Now, your parents coming from Jamaica, and you live in Jamaica. What 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 dishes did you bring back to the states that your parents did in Jamaica?
I mean, as far as like, there was no Thanksgiving in Jamaica when we were in Jamaica, but once we came here and kind of integrated and assimilated to celebrate Thanksgiving, we definitely make it more of a Caribbean types of Thanksgiving. So we do turkey, but it's a more spicy kind of jerk turkey. We do all the American food, but a lot of like rice and peas, curry goat, oxtail. It's more of a Caribbean type of Thanksgiving.
Okay, so that's different now. Now, being foundational. Like I said, we did the things like I stated earlier. We did the things like um, turkey, ham. Back in the day, they made chitlins, black eyed peas, collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens, um, green beans, and um, they made. Do you do cranberry sauce in a can, or do you make your own?
Cranberry sauce in a can for sure, because we're
Yeah,
not really cranberry sauce people, but my mom likes it.
yeah. Cranberry sauce in the can is kind of the thing to do these days, but some people like it. My mother used to like to make it fresh, and I didn't really care for it. I liked it in the can. But do you do stuffing or dressing? Those are two different things.
Um, I hear they're two different things. They're very similar, but I didn't do any of that because that's not normally something I like per se. But I think probably if I had to choose, I would probably pick dressing.
Okay. Now, quick question: is festival Thanksgiving food?
The Jamaican festival,
Yeah.
it could be. We didn't, I mean, it would be breakfast. It would be like if we're having breakfast Thanksgiving, it would be them, but not really.
So, with so what about Bami?
For breakfast, like
Oh, for
Thanksgiving morning
breakfast.
breakfast, yeah, but not like on the dinner table because those are like typically breakfast type things.
So, would you do callaloo for dinner, or
We would do it. You could do it for dinner instead of collard greens, but I don't know. We don't necessarily. It would still be a Thanksgiving morning breakfast thing.
okay, okay. And what what dish do you like? Do you prefer, and what dish you don't like?
Mm, well, I prefer probably. It's so funny. Thanksgiving is like so food explosive. Sometimes I don't know what to eat. It's like too much to eat. So sometimes I don't even know what it is. I feel like maybe I prefer like the sides type of thing, like the sweet potatoes, the mm, the salad, the casserole type of dishes, and I least prefer maybe like the turkey itself. I'm not a big turkey person.
You
Um,
know, and I noticed that with melanated folks, we don't, we're okay with turkey, but it ain't,
yeah.
we'll be good with ham, and some
Hmm.
people like roast beef. Miss
Hmm.
Sum, how are you doing? Long time no see.
Hi guys, happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Today we're
Hey.
talking about bridging past and future, honoring heritage in new ways. We were just talking about melding what you did in the past and what you do now. Now, the question to you, I just asked Miss Andrine, um, what 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 did you do? What do you do now that you didn't that your parents and grandparents didn't do?
Oh wow. I got to think about that. What I try to do every year with my family is take family photos. That's the kids will ask you, I mean, will tell you that's all I want for Christmas is a family photo. I don't remember doing that with my parents. We all just took, Christmas, regular Christmas pictures, but we never got dressed up and got photos together, dressed in a
In the
background
same
or something like.
pajamas, you a pajama person?
No, no, we haven't done, but you know what? That's a good idea maybe for this year. But no, we haven't done that. But just, the family photos with the portrait or with the dogs or something like that within the background. We didn't do that, but that is something that I love to do with my family.
What about food wise?
Ooh. Um, so I'm already over Thanksgiving food, the whole spread. I'm over it now. Don't even want to look at anything pertaining to Thanksgiving. I think Christmas we might switch it up and do seafood. My daughter's not a seafood person, so we might, make her steak or something, maybe like surf and turf. But for the most part, we want to kind of switch it up this year instead of the same old, we normally do a turkey and stuff again, but I'm over all. I don't want to look at a turkey till next year.
I got you. And that's what I was just telling Miss Andrine was that you know most of us melanated folks we can be with or without turkey. Now the question is did your grandmother or mother make chitlins during the holidays? Like I know my parents did, my grandparents did.
They don't do growing up, they never really did chitlins. I never really grew up with that, but They they famous for making some pig feet to this day. They'll make some pig feet. They'll have pig feet on the stove. So that's like a common thing even to this day, is the pig feet.
Now, what is your okay? I know you said you were out of stuff with the types of food, but what's your favorite holiday food and what's your least favorite?
Oh my gosh. Let me think. If I had to go from top to bottom, my one of my favorite dishes, which we can make year round, but is my grandmother's roast. She makes a mean roast. It is absolutely divine and it melts in your mouth. And the least amount that I probably don't even look at is the cranberries. Those normally stay on the table. People who eat that, I'm like, okay, to each his own, but I don't touch the cranberries.
I got you. I understand. We were just talking about that, whether fresh or canned. Miss Kim, welcome back to the show.
Yes, it's good to be back.
Same question to you. What do you do different that your parents and grandparents didn't do back or did that you don't do these days and vice versa?
As far as what cooking,
Cooking, food, celebration. Do y'all play Yahtzee?
hmm,
Stuff like that.
no. As far as cooking, I do a seafood dressing, as my mom would just do a regular cornbread dressing. But I do seafood in my dressing, and my girls love it. And I started that I think last year. They probably wouldn't go for that because they were very traditional. The turkey, the ham, mustard greens, collard greens, which I do that too, but I'm not a turkey person. I very rarely eat ham. But like this year, for the first time, we did a pre Thanksgiving dinner, and that was very intimate, just me and my daughters, a couple of their friends. And that's when I did the seafood dressing and ribs, barbecue ribs. We had black eyed peas, and I did for the first time um, candy yams, where I had the sweet potatoes and cut them up, and they turned out really good. And then that Thanksgiving, we went to family and had dressing, the macaroni cheese, and all that. But it was just so much food that I was just eat a little bit of this and that. Really wasn't too much hungry for a whole lot of food this year.
And that's understandable. I mean, there's a lot, especially you were in Georgia and everything, so it was going to probably be a lot more traditional than it would have been had you stayed here. Um, what's your most favorite holiday food and what's your least favorite holiday food?
Um, Probably the sweet potato souffle.
Your favorite?
And yeah, I've always loved sweet potato souffle during the holiday season. My least, I can't stand cranberry sauce. Both my girls love it. I do not like it. You might as
Did
well
your
be eating Jello. No,
did your mother make cranberry sauce or did she use it out the can?
she used it out the can. But my sister, who's also a cook, she would make it with fresh cranberries.
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring theme. Melanated folks ain't too big into turkey, and
Mm-mm.
cranberry sauce is cranberry sauce.
I
You
guess because growing up with my parents, that was always a big thing. The turkey. I remember one year We had fried turkey, baked turkey, barbecue. It was just so much turkey. I'm not big on turkey like that.
So, what about chitlins? Did your people make chitlins for holidays?
My older sister was the person that cooked the chitlin for the family. I don't eat them. Mm-mm. I don't fool with them.
But that sounds like everybody's growing up was the same. Now, personally, my favorite food is the mac and cheese and collards by the tie. Depends who's making the collards, because not everybody can make collards, and not everybody can make macaroni and cheese.
You right
My
about that.
my least favorite is sweet potato, sweet potato pie, candy yams. I can't. I just can't do it. I tried them. They say don't knock until you try it. Well, I tried them and I'm knocking them.
I in between the three different types of greens, the turnip, the mustard, and collard. Mustards are my favorite.
Well, well, mustards are turnip greens are so bitter. You really gotta work with those. Collards to me cook the best, and mustard greens I can do without, but I mean I'll take those over turnip greens,
Yeah.
because if you don't do turnip greens right, you know
But a
it's
lot of
like
people will mix they turnip and mustard greens
yeah,
together and put
yeah,
which I don't like the turnip roots. Hmm.
yeah, because like I said, turnip greens are just so bitter. But I understand it's food, so you're gonna eat it. And
Yeah.
you know how today we don't make our kids eat stuff as much as our parents made us eat stuff. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you know, I know my grandparents, they put a plate in front of you, you ate. So you better not talk about you don't like it. You gonna eat, or you gonna sit there. And my paternal grandmother is from she Geechee Gullah, so they from that deep, they from that rut.
You're right.
They from that rut. So she moved to New York and she ain't never lost an accent or nothing. And my sisters and I, we were talking about how she used to smoke them. She used to have a cigarette roller, and she used to roll her own cigarettes. And when she sent you to the store, she told you to get her some Pall Malls, but she didn't say Pall Malls. She said Pell Mell. Go, said Andre, go get me some of them Pell Mells. But yeah, that was it's amazing how the things you remember from folks who ain't here any longer, just their sayings and how they their mannerisms and stuff. And that's kind of the sad part about getting older, because the people you grew up with ain't there as much, and you gotta and you're trying to do your thing, and you don't want to do it exactly like they did it, but you don't want to deviate too far. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is showcasing examples of ancestral practices for modern times. We're going to step into a world of creative tradition, and we spotlight how black families are reimagining age old rituals for today's celebration, i.e., Miss Sum Sum and her picture taking. Discover how the principles of Kwanzaa inspire meaningful, value driven gift exchanges, how historic watch night services become vision nights for setting collective goals and mutual aid plans. Hear how Sunday dinners evolved into food justice cookouts, and how the rich call and response tradition is reborn in digital family storytelling sessions. Y'all know what call and response is, right? You do it every Sunday in church. I did a little earlier on the show. So turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, and everybody, neighbor. Or y'all know, if you've been in the church, you know the response to God is good all the time, and all the time. God is good.
God is
Call and
good.
response. We
Yeah.
do it all. We do it all the time. That's just how this. That's a cultural thing. Sunday dinners. Now we don't do Sunday dinners like our parents or grandparents did because simply time. Simply time. But we you know when we do get together as a family, it's a Sunday dinner type atmosphere, and it's a little different, but it's to keep the family some type of tradition, but do it in your own way. And mutual aid, I I remember they used to have church dinners, or people used to do rent parties, or people did things that would help the community because we were all we had at the time. As we got older, things changed, and a lot of us got more individualistic, to where we ain't feel we ain't feeling it like that anymore. So, but through these real life adaptations, we gotta learn how families are blending heritage and innovation, making every celebration a bridge between past wisdom and future possibility. And it's inspiring. Like you said, you do see Miss Kim. You said you do seafood dressing, which is a departure, but you still keep the maintain of having a dressing, even though you do a pre-Thanksgiving thing. It's a tradition that you and your daughters do, as that's separate from your greater family, but it's something that still along those lines, I'm cool with that. That's how you keep family. That's how you keep family together in your own way. But I'm gonna turn on this video on how other black folks show their way to do handle how they do holidays. Just give me a second. Hopefully this will play.
have days full of community celebration. I love to see witness the dance, the poetry, the food, the gifts, the creative gifts. So that and both sides of my family are really big. So we just all get together at someone's house and just have multiple generations from grands to little ones all together. So that's how we celebrate the holidays.
It's important for us as Black people to express our culture and to embrace it because we are in the diaspora and there are a lot of different people here who do that. So why not we represent for our people and our culture as well?
So community is definitely important, and we focus on that during these holiday seasons, be it Thanksgiving or Christmas, because our community has been fractured and separated throughout the entirety of our history here in America. And so having those moments to be able to be together is important because that's where we find our home, and we're here today celebrating home. But really, really important that we continue to foster that community, even when there are those who would like to divide us and take it away from us.
Introduced us to Kwanzaa when I was a child, and what was the best part about it was being able to gift one another our creativity instead of just consumerism as a way of celebrating, but to show your thoughtfulness and your care for one another through writing a poem or painting a picture or creating something unique.
I think it's really important because there's so many external forces who are doing the opposite, right? Who are painting Black people in a poor light or in a light that's divisive and derogatory and just not beneficial at all for us. And so it's nice for us to come together, celebrate each other, celebrate life, celebrate health, celebrate family, and just to lift each other up to counteract all the things that are pushing down.
So, what did you guys think of that little thing about celebration of how Black people celebrate Christmas and holidays and things like that,
Couldn't
and how
hear
some
it.
of the you couldn't hear it. Oh
Mm-mm.
gosh, uh, it my fault. I forgot to put the sound on. Well, they were just talking about different like one of the people were talking about that came from he was a second generation from Nigeria, and how his parents bought the Nigerian customs and they incorporated some American things in there. Um, it was pretty interesting, and just how some of us do that, and we have we have just how we get together, and it's like, dealing with Kwanzaa. Now, does anybody raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you celebrate Kwanzaa? Nobody else? Oh, okay, I got two Kwanzaas. Two Kwanzaas. But the purpose is not the receiving of the gifts, it's the giving of the gifts. And that's actually in line with biblical principles, as it is better to give than to receive. So, you're talking about family, unity, togetherness, celebrating things that the village mentality, mutual aid, and things of that nature, so that we are, building our communities, one person, one family, one community, one neighborhood at a time. Now, when I was younger, everybody knew everybody else, and it was interesting in that even 50 something years later, people that knew me when I was in elementary school, in pre-K, we can talk and it just be like we just picked up where we left off, because that's just how it was. And I don't think that our children will be like that. Even with their relatives, it's not the same. We're not as close as we used to be. Um, One, we've all moved to different places and gone different distances, so it's a little harder logistically to move. But and two, once people get their own families, they start doing their own thing, which is not a bad thing, but is a lot different than it was in the 70s and 80s. Even the 60s was different, you know, because I used to we would go every holiday or every birthday or every thing. We'd be around our first cousins. Now it's like our kids don't really get with their first cousins. That's crazy, but it's true. So there's like a lot of them are strangers to each other. They know each other. They know their family, but they don't. But they're not as close as family as we were to our that at least I was and my siblings were to our cousins because we were always around each other. Is anybody else's family like that, Miss Kim?
Yeah, we used to we would take turns every year gathering for holidays at different family members' house, cousins' house. Um, but we don't do that now. I know a lot of people look at me and say, Kim, get everybody together. Let's pull everybody together. They kind of look at me as being the head. I replace my mother. And it's a lot of work. I did do it one year, pulled everybody together, had, a big Thanksgiving dinner. It literally wore me out because I was doing all the cooking. I prepared, got rooms for everybody. It was a lot on just me. And I just cannot handle that now. That I'm older, I can't do it now and I need help. But they always look at me to just bring the family together. So when I do go home, you know, I miss family gatherings. I miss the traditional, getting together, fellowshipping with your cousins or your aunts and uncles. I do miss that a lot, but it's just harder now. Like you said, we all are in different locations, but I do try to do something small and intimate, like I did back a couple of months ago. Me and my niece and great niece and great 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 niece, we are and my kids met in Savannah, and I wish we could have got more family to come, but it's kind of hard nowadays to get everybody
Right.
together.
No, I got you. I got you. It is harder. What about you, Miss
Yeah, I was blessed to be raised with my cousins. So we are, even though we have our own lives and families and things of that nature, we still, um, they showed up and showed out for me when I was um, recovering from cancer. And, we went to our roots. We went to Carnival together and we try to, keep in contact with each other as much as we can. And we, if someone is having a birthday or something like that, we definitely try to show up still for each other. Um, I wish that our children were as close as we are now because I know this feeling and I want that feeling for them. We're not there. It's a slow uh, progression. And the matriarch of our family just passed, Grandma Val. So It's rough. We know that we have a long road ahead, but the I'm very optimistic that the cousins will um want to still get together and want to keep that family going, if anything for her in her name, so um that's something that I've always expressed to my cousins, that I want our kids to be close. I want them to know each other. You never know, how family will help you in the future, and I'm a living testament to that, so they're still showing out for me. I remember going Easter egg hunting in somebody's backyard with them with our little baskets and stuff, and then here we are with our own kids. So it's important. It is priceless. You cannot put money on it. This feeling that you have with your cousins, that's your lifeline, and I love them so much, and yeah, that's something that I really want to try to extend to my children. I want them to know that feeling so much.
Yeah, no, that's definitely understandable. We don't always get it right, but we try our best, and sometimes not. You can't do all the pulling. You can't do all the pulling. Sometimes it's like herding, like we used to say, it's like herding cats. You don't do nothing but get scratched up, and the cat's still gonna be a cat. Um, but and that's the thing, is that we have to, and this is just in our community in general. We have to get back to unifying with it starts with a family. We got to unify the family first. Then we can unify the community. We got to, stop putting up with nonsense from our young people, and our old people have got to act right, because growing older does not always mean growing up. Because there are plenty of people that are in their 40s and 50s, and they stop aging past 13 because of the things they do. You gotta love some of us from a distance, but for the most part, we have to look at being the best we can be, and making sure that when all this nonsense with the president is over with, and hopefully 2020 before 2028, but we can only hope that we'll come out on the other side of it a little bit roughed up, a little bit worn, but overall we're still going to hold us together. And that's all I'm gonna ask each one of y'all to do. Y'all, we're gonna cut the show a little early today, but I'm glad that y'all came on. I was a little rusty, just getting back, had some things I need to do. I may, depending on things, I may move the show to another day for a while until I can get my schedule straight again. But I want to thank all the people, my family that are on here, my family that ain't on here, and I want to say good night to everybody. And if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. This is DFG saying sayonara. Peace out.